So boys, today we're doing depreciation. Depreciation is something that is really important to anybody who is in a business, because a lot of things that people have in businesses do depreciate. They can claim the depreciation on those items in their tax and be able to claim it against their taxable income. So we're going to look at what it all means first. Depreciation is compound interest working in reverse. It's working backwards. So depreciation itself is the loss in value of an item over a period of time. For example, a car will lose value unless it happens to be something that's a vintage car or something like that that's been restored to perfect condition. Every car will lose value over time. A laptop will lose value over time. Okay, mainly these things happen because it's wear and tear on them. All right, so you buy a new car, it's everything about it's perfect, there's no scratches on it or anything like that. Over time, you get little bits of dings and things like that. You also end up with an engine that eventually will need replacing. You have a lot of parts that are going to wear out, they need to be replaced and things like that. Okay, so the car will lose value. You will not sell it for as much as you bought it for, and it will lose value. Okay, so looking at how we calculate depreciation. So the first thing we do is use the same formula as we did with compound interest, with one difference, that minus sign there. So instead of a plus, because this is working in reverse, depreciation has a minus there. Other than that, it's the same formula as compound interest. So this gives you the current value of the item, what it's worth today, not what it was worth when you bought it. Okay, so A is calculating the current value, the P is the principal or the original value, so whatever you originally purchased it at. It doesn't have to be a new item. You could buy a second-hand car and you purchased the car for $10,000. That's your original value. Okay, then N is the number of time periods. Okay, that has to work in sync with this. Okay, so the little r is the percentage per time period, which is called the depreciation rate. How much value it will lose at per time period. Don't forget, we need to have this capital R calculated as a decimal. It just goes into this formula much better if it is. Okay, down the bottom here, we've got the second part of this. If they want the current value, and that's what they've asked for, that's what you find. If they want the depreciation, they're asking for how much value your item has lost over time. So to get the depreciation or the loss in value, it's the reverse of what we learned with compound interest. So you're going to do the bigger number minus the smaller number. The bigger number will be the P, the principal, the original value, because it was worth more then. That's a bigger number. You're going to take off what it's worth now, its current value, which is lower. All right, subtract those and you will get the amount of value you have lost on that item or its depreciation. Okay, so we're having a look over here at this first example. All right, now we're looking at the value of a photocopier. Photocopiers wear out, okay, so they're not going to be worth the same as when you first bought it. So we're finding the value of the photocopier after 5 years if its purchase price was $2,850 and the annual depreciation rate is 20%. So that means we're just going to have a look at these words here. Now, annual means yearly, and this is in years. So we can be confident that all our time periods match up and we don't need to fiddle around with anything there. Most of the time, 99% of the time, your depreciation questions will not be fiddling around with the time periods. Okay, so it should be a lot easier. All right, so here's our formula, and we're starting over here. So when we do this, we're doing R equals 1 minus 20% is your depreciation rate, so we're putting 20 in here. When you put this in your calculator and get a decimal, it'll be 0.8. Because this is depreciation, this decimal will be under 1. All right, well, if you look back at your compound interest ones, they're always over 1. All right, now we're going to put that in here for R. So our original value of the photocopier was $2,850 times by our R and to the power of however many time periods, or in this case, however many years, and it was 5 years. When you put that all in the calculator, you'll get this decimal, which we're rounding off to 2 decimal places for money, $933.89. So that's all they've asked for in this question. What is it worth now after 5 years? And that's what it's worth. It started off being worth $2,850. It's now worth $933.89. Okay, in the next video, we're going to be coming back to do some more examples.